I was saying, Steve was bringing the chairs. Yeah, just sit here. Yes, you do. Wish I had thought of that. That's just something for you to read.
Yes, it's going to be a neat video.
And expansion and T.
Yeah, we're watching it. But it's going to be a nice place. Yeah, it'll be in your person. It's going to be pretty, it's going to be top-notch.
All right. We now will go to item number 18, is to discuss the jail, the communications, and the dispatch. Beginning with the jail, there was a person that tried to escape, and he, of course, did not get outside of the jail, but jail commission had to come and discuss what changes that needed to be made. And so the sheriff and I did talk to Gary McLeod. He came and looked to see what we could do to make that area more secure. And he is looking at maybe putting up some expanded metal panels on the ceilings and wherever else it might be needed. And so the sheriff, I believe, is working with the jail commission to see what they will approve. Is there something else on that that you want to talk about?
That's exactly right. And I think we're planning on coming to more than just their inspectors. I think they got some other people that's going to come and look at the jail and discuss it more. But we have told them yesterday, we told them what our idea was, and what that was considered.
Where did they escape? Was they back in the back, or where were they up when they escaped?
Yeah, that's a safety and security issue. I don't, we can talk about it somewhere else, but I don't want it. That's not something I want the public knowing what's happening. That's a safety and security issue for my building. We've already got a safety and security issue. I don't need it publicized.
Okay.
All right. Anything else on that? So I guess we'll move to communications. Or just whatever else we want to discuss. I would like to, on the communications issue, you know, I read this report this morning from Leonard, and he was talking about the place, if I'm correct about it, the place that we had the issue with, that the tower where. Okay. Now, they did fix the road, is that right?
There had not been a road put in there yet.
Okay. Well, that was just one issue then, back then, so, but we will be looking at fixing the road. But we had an issue with the electricity going off, and then there was no propane?
It ran out of propane again, yes.
Okay.
And this time it didn't even give us a warning. You know, normally it gives us a warning. Last time it gave us a warning, but then they said they couldn't get out there because it gets stuck.
Mm-hmm.
This time it didn't even give us a warning.
Okay, and how does that warning get to you?
Yeah, it goes through the propane company.
It goes to the propane company,
Yes.
not to us. To the propane.
Right, and then they notify us that it's low, they need to come out and fill it.
So, do we need to talk to the propane company, or
Yes.
are you going to talk to them?
Yeah, we will be talking to them.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
That's an issue that needs to be addressed.
That generator only comes on if the electricity's off,
Yes,
so
and it's on its own
propane.
circuit, so
So do they know
nothing
why?
else is, fuse or something blue on it, but it's the only thing on it, so when it goes out, nothing else goes out. It's just that. It's just that tower.
So there's a fuse or something, if electricity goes out, yeah, how do they send the message?
There should be a backup message. I mean, there could be a system installed that would actually call and notify, dispatch that the power's out, the generator's on.
And
That's
see,
something-
and another thing that was wrote in that letter that's not correct is we wasn't checking it. Yeah, we've been checking it. Matter of fact, that night, our deputy checked, and he said the light was on. Unfortunately, he was looking at the wrong tower. But again, that's not something our people know, but we have been checking that. So that was not correct information in that letter.
I just want to be sure it's not something I'm supposed to be doing.
Oh, no.
As far as checking on
When
that.
you're talking about checking it from a
Certainly,
distance as a visual check, because the light, if the generator's running, the light's gonna be on. But
Right.
that'd be different than pulling up out there and knowing that the generator's running.
Yeah, we
But if we
don't.
didn't know the generator's running, then somebody could call a fire company.
Oh, well, correct. We just look at the light, just like Leonard said, if you see the light, you know it's working. So that's
Well,
what,
that's not good enough, because if the light's on because of the generator, we need to know to call the electric company before the generator runs out of propane.
right, and the propane company is supposed to notify us that it's low to get it filled, right? Yeah.
Do they automatically go out there and fill it up every so often, or are we under a contract that they maintain it and we keep it full?
No, they just fill it up when they get notification it needs it. And we
And
pay
it
for
should
it.
last forever, I mean, it shouldn't be coming on
Right.
much anyway, I mean, like that fuse is blowing, we've had the same thing, we had to call Encore 3 weeks in a row, because the transformer that provides the power to the county farm, is kicked out, but it's because of all the green growth up in the bottom wires when the wind blows, it kicks the deal, and so, I called the guy the other day and said, this is the third time, and we all know what fixed it for. We all need to come cut the trees out of the wires.
We don't, and I don't know if Encore can, I don't know if they can do something on our request to notify, or for them to get notification that their power went out to that, to our infrastructure there.
They should have known, I mean, all these smart meters, they should know.
I think so.
It's 2 times now, and they didn't know anything.
Yeah, they should know that that's a priority, that should hurt.
Yeah.
The priority.
Yeah.
And then, going back to the last time, we had to call them 3 times, continually telling them it was a priority. This is our infrastructure, this is our communications. And it wasn't no faster than any other time. Now, this time they responded pretty quick. That's probably because there wasn't nothing else going on, no bad weather, no.
I'm not sure that I totally understand. Tell me one more time. If the electricity goes off down there,
Yes.
then what's supposed to happen?
Generator's supposed to kick on.
And when the generator kicks on, what notification is supposed to go?
We have
There is no notification.
We need something
Yeah,
right there.
The
Yeah.
generator runs off of propane, Judge.
Yeah,
When the
it's a-
propane then goes low, they're supposed to
We
get
can run for
notification.
4 or 5
to the
days
propane
before propane company's gonna get a notification.
So it's only when that it goes out that they send the notification.
Well, it's supposed
But
to.
then-
So we need something whenever the
Need to know
electricity
when the
goes off
electricity
and
goes
the
out.
generator comes on that notifies. And what do we need to get to make that happen? That's the part we're missing up there.
I mean, them chicken houses all have them.
That's what I mean, it used to be SCADA, but it's
Yeah.
not SCADA
Yeah,
anymore.
all the
so-
chicken, I mean, those people that own the chicken operate them, when the electricity goes off, they get, and their generators fire.
If they have one water go off, they get a
Yeah,
notification.
they get notified, so there's gotta be.
Who
Yeah, I
do
don't- I
we
mean, I
talk
don't
to
know.
about that? We've talked about it,
Yeah.
but who do we talk to actually get that done?
I mean, I know the warning, I know we're supposed to get a warning from us on propane when the propane gets like 10 or 20% low. They're supposed to give us a warning. That didn't happen this time, so we can take that up with Nelson. But as far as the electricity going out, I don't have.
We need to have something
When the
installed.
generator comes on, we need a notification, is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
We need
And how do
notification
we
when the
get that
electricity
done?
goes off.
Right, yeah,
How do we get that done?
I don't know what,
We're starting with an electrician. We're going to call an electrician that know how to install that.
Okay, what is that device called? So I can tell him what.
oil field is all SCADA, like,
SCADA.
all oil field that has all their automated stuff, it's SCADA.
SCADA.
But that's just the name of the system, that's the name of the
Yeah,
metering, I mean, it's all,
That's where data from
yeah.
meter runs.
It's more than just warnings, they get all that, all their data comes in.
Sets
off
to
of
a
that.
computer.
But I'm sure it's all tied in that same system.
When we get the system set up, who's he gonna notify? Is he gonna notify y'all, the sheriff's office?
We'll probably notify her just that.
Yeah.
Yes, it makes sense, just, somebody's,
Okay.
there's gotta be, somebody, there's someone who's done that.
That's good enough, I know what to look for. All right. What else in communications?
I have a letter here that I was asked to read during the court. It says, "To Judge Grant and the Freestone County Commissioners Court, let me first apologize for not being able to attend the meeting today since I am working out of town. My name is Kelly Craig and I am the Fire Chief of Wortham Volunteer Fire Department. I have been with the fire department for 35 years. I am also a police officer, having served the city of Wortham and surrounding area for almost 30 years. Over the last 30 plus years, I have seen firsthand the dispatch system going from telephones in several members' homes and the fire departments dispatching themselves to the beginning of 911 leading up to our current telecommunications system. Sadly, I feel our current dispatch system is worse now than it has been in the last 30 years in terms of appropriate technology. We are several years behind the times. There have been numerous complaints from the fire departments in regard to dispatch over the last couple of years, and all of the vocalized concerns have fallen on deaf ears. No changes have been made, and the dangerous problems have failed to be corrected. Our leadership has failed drastically in terms of making dispatch a better and safer for both the emergency personnel and the citizens of this county. It appears to have continually gotten worse. I feel there are many reasons that our current dispatch has gotten this way. First and most notably is the pay in which our telecommunicators are receiving. These folks, I feel, are currently overworked and severely underpaid for the job in which they are expected to do. These ladies are not only the lifeline for law enforcement officers in this area, but are the eyes and ears for 9 fire departments and 2 EMS services that operate in our county. The lives of our citizens and visitors count on them to be the best that they can be, ask the appropriate and relative questions, and relay pertinent information to first responders. The second issue lies with the current shift schedule. Many of the dispatchers that we have currently, as well as past employees, have requested time and time again for a better work schedule. Every agency in the area that I have knowledge of works rotating 12-hour shifts with every other weekend off. Our dispatchers continue to work 8-hour shifts, and having a weekend off is a rarity, especially with the shortage of employees. Next is certainly the lack of trained employees. This question arises, why is dispatch so short-staffed? Several reasons, I believe. Open positions are currently advertised for jailer, dispatch, and secretary. Dispatch is at the bottom of the list on the pay scale. The jailer's position is equally important, but when someone picks up an application and they look at the fact that they will receive low pay, not comparable to surrounding agencies, will work deep nights and never have a weekend off, they do not come back and turn in the application, or ultimately decide they would rather work in the jail for better pay, better hours, and more pay. In my opinion, a majority of this is due to lack of leadership in dispatch and above. Leadership has failed to accommodate current employees and compensate for being shorthanded. I see firsthand that these ladies are tired and several have just given up. I have been told by more than one dispatcher that they know they are not doing the best, but why try any harder? Many of our current dispatchers want to do a good job, but most lack proper training and appropriate leadership. Many of the deputies, including the sheriff and chief deputy, go to regular training. Why is it that our dispatchers are not going? There is an annual telecommunicators conference as well as numerous other training opportunities available. One of the main focuses on continuing education courses for law enforcement is to enhance knowledge, prepare for certain situations, and correct critical errors. There have been several circumstances as of late that dispatchers have made critical errors, mostly due to the lack of training in both in-house and through continuing education, that are inappropriately addressed and corrected. Part of succeeding and improving in this career revolves around mistakes made that are used as a learning experience, as well as a blueprint that leadership uses as weak points that need to be addressed with training and standard operating procedures. It appears that the current leadership merely disciplines the employees rather than using the mistake as an opportunity to provide additional resources to ensure the issue is resolved. Furthering the issue regarding leadership, an important question arises. Why did our radios go down again in the middle of the night? Obviously, our leadership is not routinely checking the main repeater tower, which is critical necessity to the safety and functionality of all agencies in this county. My understanding is that the power had been out for some time and running on backup generator until it ran out of propane for the second time this year. The first occurrence was in February after the ice storm knocked out the power. Instead of taking preventative measures by checking the power status at the level of fuel on the propane tank that runs the backup generator, the tower was left alone and ran out of fuel, causing tower failure. The second instance occurred about a month later under the same neglectful circumstances. Not only did the sheriff's office fail to provide preventative checks on the tower, they seemed as though they felt it was not in their duty to do so. Both times the tower failure could have been prevented by sending a unit to check if the backup generator was running and what the current fuel level was on the 250-gallon propane tank. These checks need to be regularly performed, especially under weather conditions that could potentially cause power loss, as the backup generator is merely designed as an emergency operational feature, not a long-lasting solution for critical infrastructure failure. In the past, the Sheriff's Department checked on the tower weekly and had inmates assigned to a work crew that kept it clean and mowed on a regular basis. Why are we relying on a part-time EMC to diagnose and fix the problems when it should be our current leadership that prevents the issue from arising? We should not be relying on a part-time employee to be solely responsible for an entire communication system for the county. The dispatchers often call the dispatch lieutenant when issues arise, but there is no answer. They call who they can count on since the current leadership is not reliable. There needs to be a specific plan in place to prevent this from happening in the future and endangering the lives of emergency responders and the citizens of this county. A failed communication tower put lives at risk, a risk that is unnecessary and unacceptable. So how do we fix this? I feel we should move to a consolidated dispatch governed by a board of directors that is led by the county judge. The board should consist of members from the fire departments, EMS, and law enforcement agencies from the entire county. We should bring in new leadership from outside the current staffing. Finding someone that is knowledgeable and experienced in the field will improve each telecommunicator's morale and ability. There should be a leader employee that will actively look at for training opportunities, ways to improve everyone's job performance. This should also be accompanied by new standard operating procedures, which not only sets clear guidelines of the telecommunicator's responsibilities, but also includes accountability for when mistakes are made. They should have a leader that will work hard to improve working conditions and equipped by working with the COG on grants and exploring other pertinent funding opportunities. For example, looking into CAD systems could not only improve overall dispatch functionality, but ensure that all agencies are appropriately equipped. Up-to-date equipment is necessary, not a luxury. Increased salaries for these telecommunicators as well as training and leadership will drastically improve the department as a whole. I've always been told you get what you pay for. In conclusion, the county is in dire need of immediate changes. I am asking today that there be thoughtful and responsible consideration and action taken to address the issues of inappropriate pay, undesirable shift schedules, failed leadership, inadequate training, and outdated equipment and procedures. The livelihoods of our emergency responders and citizens depend on a resolution to these critical errors. Thank you for your time. Sincerely, Kelly Craig, Wortham Fire Department.
I can address one of the issues. The cleaning around the tower we need somebody to clean around the tower at least once a month. Is that correct?
It's in pretty good shape.
Okay.
I drove in there this past week. I mean, I carried inmates before and we cleaned it, and, I sprayed the anchor points.
Okay.
There's nothing alive inside the chain link fence. It's all dead.
Okay.
I'm not saying it was muddy, but I drove all the way around it in my truck. I know it's not a propane truck, but, I mean, we're out here in town, Lord not low. The truck can't get in there and fill the tank because it's muddy. All you gotta do is call, we'll drag him in there, get him out. You know, I mean, we just need to know.
We've all talked about fixing the road. Going to get, you know, all of us, so much from each break, you know, from our budget, we can handle that.
But the road's gonna get this rock. Got drags on it, but it's rock.
Oh, it is, okay.
Yeah.
So it's got a base.
Yeah. Just need a little man. But I'm on a no-field bill at the house on my propane tank. I never run out. And I guess they're installing these smart meters on these propane tanks, or smart whatever. I never run out. So evidently that tank either doesn't have one or it needs one.
It's got one because it worked back in February. I guess in February. But apparently it didn't work this last time.
I'll be able to get it to you.
On that comment, are we all on the same page as far as who's responsible for the communication systems?
Well, we're kind of all mutually responsible.
I'm talking about between the sheriff department and the EMC.
As far as the tower, yeah, usually the EMC handles the tower.
As far as keeping the propane and checking
Well,
all
they're the ones
that?
that normally check and keep up with all the communication stuff at the towers.
Well, I guess that'll be me then. Okay, I can do that.
In my opinion, that should not fall on the judge. There's plenty of people in this county that can take care of a tower and make sure that it works when we need it to work. For a tower to go down at 1 a.m. and not a single fire department was notified until I just happened to drive to TEMS and ask where my wife was and was told that they was flying a patient out. I didn't even know they went on a call. That's how we found out the tower is down in February. Nobody told a fire department one. Our chief works on the railroad. They said, well, they would have called the chief. He works on the railroad. He don't know when he's at work. What if he's in Beaumont, Texas? He can't get a hold of us at all times. I'm sorry, Judge, that should not fall on you.
Well, I don't mind talking to the propane company, seeing what we can do about a smart meter or the no-fill situation and see what the problem is. I don't mind doing that. I surely can do that. And then,
Well, that's why I was saying, it should be a mutual deal. We should all be held responsible for all of it. We've got our part of responsibility, just like the EMC has their part. Andy just said that he's been out there before. I mean, it's all of our, you know, it's a county responsibility to make sure that this stops happening and we make sure things go as good as possible.
yeah, I was just saying, you know, if we needed to send Steve, we can put him on the schedule, but if there's inside the fence you're talking about, if you spray it for weeds, then there shouldn't be anything that we need to look at there. I'm just trying to get it written down of what we need to do so we can be sure we get that.
Then we just need to be on the same page.
Yes.
Because, I mean, with the two letters that's been read this morning, it kind of sounds like the EMC thinks that you're 100% responsible for it. In the past, you thought that he was responsible for it. We're not
No, I
on the
didn't
same.
take it that way. I mean, and I agree with every single thing Ron just read. I agree with every single thing he just read from Kelly Craig, all of it. Now, the one from Leonard earlier, some of that wasn't necessarily true. Because while I had a supervisor there, matter of fact, she was there longer than he was. She left. She stayed there to make sure everything was still going and running right. But he's saying, as a part-time EMC, it can't all fall on him. Well, I've always said from the beginning, we needed a full-time EMC. I've always said that. That would fall under a full-time EMC. So I didn't take him saying it was my responsibility or me saying it was his. I think it's just an issue of he's a part-time EMC. He's got a full-time job somewhere else out of county. So it's hard for him to have to deal with it. That's why it needs to be a county-wide effort. You know, it's not like we're dodging any responsibility here. We've been involved from the beginning. We were involved last time. We just need to get it to where it's fixed. You know, a lot of times you don't know whether to fix something until something happens. And at that point, we need to make sure it don't keep happening.
Is that kind of like the errors in dispatch? They keep happening, but they don't get fixed.
Well, let's talk about the errors. Let's talk about the 15 to 16,000 calls we take a year.
Okay.
And then let's talk about the 20 that might, because we check a lot of everything. Every time I've gotten a complaint, I've checked it. You guys I know don't think that, but I have. And I got my supervisors here every time that sometimes are crying in my freaking office because I let loose on them. So we are trying to handle our business. Being told we're not isn't helping anybody, because we do. I go to work every day 100% trying to handle business. If it's a complaint, by God, I'm trying to handle it with my chief, and I'm trying to handle it with my supervisor. But I think we're over-dramatizing some of these complaints and some of the things that are happening, because a lot of the complaints aren't even legit. We go back and check, and it's not even what, after 3 or 4 people getting back to us, is even what even happened.
So that man that was in that car waiting 45 minutes to get cut out of it is over dramatizing it?
What are you talking about?
Oh, the one
You
where Keith got mad at me for requesting the tapes. Did y'all even go back and look for those tapes and what I was actually looking into? You have them. So they got a report of a wreck. I'm not going to give you exact times because I can't remember anymore. They sent a deputy because it was only one call. The deputy took 30 minutes to get there because they could be out in the county anywhere. I'm not saying that that's wrong. He gets there. He tells them, Page, fire an EMS. 8 minutes after that, fire an EMS's Page. It takes us now to get up, to go get the apparatus, come down there, all this time. 45 minutes, somebody sat in a car on the interstate needing our help, and they didn't get it.
Exactly.
That is a problem. Nobody has asked for the dispatchers to get in trouble. I don't want to see anybody get in trouble.
Well, that's what happened. They do get
I
in
don't
trouble.
want them.
I don't think that's my job.
None of this, when we say something, when we bring something to y'all's attention, it's not to get them in trouble. It's supposed to be a learning opportunity. You don't have to get somebody in trouble all
Which
the
is
time.
what we do. Which is what we use.
But you just sat there and told us that they're crying in your office because
they don't like to make mistakes either.
But-
And they don't like to be, most of the time when they're crying, it's because they've been blamed for something that didn't happen. And
Well,
here I am
well-
going over some things, and they're just like, well, here we go again. You know, we're getting talked to again like we've done something wrong when really we didn't. It's right here.
The tapes
But
don't
everybody-
lie.
I know
The
I
tapes
have
don't
them.
lie.
I know they don't. That's what I'm saying. We deal with facts.
The tape
Everything's
didn't lie the
recorded.
other day. When there was a call on the lake for water rescue and they called Limestone County.
Yes,
And not our call.
yes. And
These
I know what
commissioners-
happened with that.
These commissioners bought thousands of dollars worth of equipment for the water rescue team to be able to perform at their very best.
Yes.
And we call,
And that dispatcher didn't know what to do. She never called out.
she's been here 4 years.
She's never called out a water rescue.
We built a paper.
I know you did,
And
and she was so flustered. I get it.
And that
We've
goes
already
back
gone
on
over
the
it.
training part.
that,
We've already gone over
that's
that.
what we've been trying to say, is more training. But they come in here and they say, oh, we go through all this training. I can tell you right now, the dispatchers do not follow NIMS training. They are not NIMS compliant. Because what does NIMS tell you to do? Do not use a 10 code. I understand you've been doing it for years, it's hard to break. But they say do not use a 10 code. And every day, we got a 1050. Some of our guys don't understand what a 1050 is because we don't go through that no more.
Yeah, this county still uses a 10 code.
Well, then you're not NIMS compliant. I'm sorry. That's,
But as far as what Kelly Craig said, I agree with all of it. Everything that was read. We are way behind in times in our dispatch, way behind. Our pay, we can't get anybody to work. And with that, I'm left with 5 dispatchers, a couple of them that shouldn't even be by themselves, sitting here telling you that. We can't go to a 12-hour shift because we don't have enough people to go to a 12-hour shift. They can't get more training because we don't have enough people to send them to training. Who's going to cover their shifts? It's a domino effect. Everything that happens is a manpower issue. It's a domino effect. You're going to make more mistakes when you don't have somebody there working with you. You know, I mean, that's what we're dealing with.
What's the plan?
I think we need more money to pay to get more people.
But you've had people leave dispatch, you've had people quit, you go to another county. And it wasn't because of the money.
Every time I've lost a dispatcher and went somewhere else, that's what I was
You've had
told.
people leave because of just the drama in the office. I've been told that personally.
I haven't been told that. We talk to everybody that leaves.
And I'll agree with you. Just like the higher end salary, I was for changing
Yes.
and moving up the higher end salary last time in budget. I'm still for it now, you know, and I think there's been a lot of inflation since then. And I don't know anybody that's going to disagree with it this time or not, but I'm still for it. But just money's not going to fix the problem.
No, I get that. But I gotta have more manpower in order to make changes.
I mean, there needs to be a plan, you know?
We got a plan. We can't use the plan if I don't have people to do it.
Can the board not be put in place until the dispatch is changed to the new building? Why can't we go ahead and get the board in place?
That's something we need to talk about and talk about it that way.
Our only input is to make complaints. That's the only input we get. Then they get pissed off because we make complaints. That's the only way we can voice our opinion on stuff that we think needs to be fixed.
Right.
and we know.
We're the ones out there running the calls.
Let me think about that and we'll see if we can go ahead and get that in place.
We know
do
when they're
have-
mad at us because they'll
we do
start
have the,
taking us to everything.
Oh, they hate my guts. I guarantee you all of them do. But that's fine. I don't care. I'm not here for them. I'm here to help people.
We do have, should have the plans for the new dispatch building, hopefully next week. And then we'll be ready to go out for bids. And hopefully, once we consolidate, then too, we can see if we need more dispatch people and how we're gonna do that. That's coming quickly. But we'll go ahead and maybe start trying to get our board in place. That's agreeable with everybody. All right, what's our next? Is there anything else?
Going back to the high water rescue thing, it was accidental that she pushed the limestone button, she corrected it. That afternoon, I went up there, we corrected the problem with the calling out for high water rescue. We did a page that afternoon, we went through, Tig answered. I didn't get a response from anybody else. I touched base with the EMC. He said that everybody got the page. We will be doing pages periodically to make sure everybody knows how to do it. That afternoon, we did put out something where everybody learned how to do it, just in case they did not know how to do it. That was a boat that floated from Navarro County. You know, it was their high water rescue earlier that day that we didn't know about. As far as the training, I have made contact with Hot Call since our last meeting that we were in, and she's trying to get a class together for us with our training with one of her employees. I've touched base with her this week by email, and she said he's working on getting this class and a schedule together for that for us.
And I've been in Waco and met with them myself. So there's things being done. There's always things being done. We're always trying to improve. It's not like we're trying to do this on purpose. We just only do what we can do.
Definitely. And during the high water rescue call, we had a member of the fire department call during the emergency to criticize our dispatcher. During the emergency.
No, I
We
did
have
not. That
no
was me.
problem.
I did not criticize anybody. I asked her why she did not page out the high water rescue team. And she said, oh, and then I said, you need to page the Freestone County Swift Water Rescue Team. I did not criticize her. In fact, I stayed on the phone and tried to walk her through the process of paging out the Freestone County Water Rescue Team, of how whoever's call it's in, so if it's in Southern Oaks District, Southern Oaks, and the water rescue team gets the call. There was no criticizing.
Jody called also, and he didn't criticize either. He was trying to tell y'all how to do it so it would get paged correctly. And I can promise you, Jody did not criticize your dispatcher during the call.
Thank you.
We all know Jody better than that, and Ron
And
too.
I talked to Jody myself. Yeah.
So that is not true.
Just anything else?
We've got to stop this back and forth blaming
Yes,
and get this problem fixed.
yes.
It's going on way too long. And somebody's gonna die because it happens. And we all know what's gonna happen then.
And I think the main thing to remember, dispatch shouldn't be getting, at least they are getting paid. These guys are not getting paid. You know, they're volunteers. And we gotta take that into consideration. They're donating their time. And when they call and make a recommendation, I mean, it should be accepted, you know, I mean, it should be something that, don't act like they're being mean, you know? I'm sure they get upset when things are not done right, but they even offered last time to use their money and to contact Teeks and get trained. And I'm glad y'all are getting trained through Hot Call. But like Brian just said, the back and forth is no good. I mean, how much better would it be if everybody was just friends and got along and could literally work together, you know?
We're all in it for the same thing, trying to help our county and the people in it.
But it is sad whenever dispatchers, whenever they get a call, they are literally worried that we're gonna get complained on from the fire department.
I do think we will go ahead and try to get this, to get our board set up, and that way we can work through the board and maybe help the communication between dispatch and the sheriff's department and our fire department, so that we can hopefully work together better on that.
Once the board's set up, who's getting?
I think we'll go ahead and next week, we're gonna have a special meeting, and we'll have, find out, you know, how many people from like fire departments and the sheriff, and somebody from ambulance, and how many, and then we'll try to get them appointed and see if we can get.
Once we get those people appointed, and they make a recommendation, who's going to take care of the recommendations? Is that going to be the sheriff's department? Is that going to be the dispatch? I mean, somebody's got to take responsibility.
Yes.
When that board says this needs to be done, somebody needs to be taking care of this, and this,
That's correct.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm hoping we'll have some guidelines for our next meeting.
Definitely need some guidance.
Yes, we'll have some
We're gonna
guidelines.
look at what some other counties are doing.
Yes, I have the limestone county, and we'll look at that and see if that's what we're gonna do and try to get that working, just as soon as we can. Sure we will. I think that there were some other some other issues that were mentioned. I don't know if we want to wait and take those up at another time, or if we want to go into something different. I think we pretty much talked this out about the dispatch and about how we're going to move forward to try to make some changes that will help both sides.
Is everybody getting their pages now? You know, I know one time, man, the lake, we had problems 3 or 4 years ago. Are y'all getting y'all's pages now from the system?
We get the pages, but there's often so much static, we can't make it out. We have to wait till Safe Alert sends it on our smartphone to actually get an address or see what the call is. So we get a whole lot of static.
Yes, sir. I know we've been up there several times working, you know, back several years ago, trying to get it where y'all could just get the pages.
Well, we get the pages. I mean, you know, the radio goes off, but, you know, we can't understand all the words all the time.
Yes, sir.
What can we do to try to help that situation?
I don't know if it's the tower or the repeaters. I'm just not sure what it is. I mean, because, you know, where we're at, there's a lot of trees and a lot of unlevel ground around the lake. I don't know what the problem is. It could be weather related sometimes. But no, we get our pages, but we just, it's hard to hear what they're saying.
Can you think of an alternate way to do that? If they page out, then could they call somebody also on the phone? Would that be
Well, when
an option?
we get a thing called Safe Alert. So after Freestone County pages us, the radio goes off and they say what the call is, and then 15, 20 seconds later, we get our cell phone goes off.
Okay.
And it's called Safe Alert, and you push that and it'll tell you real clear what the call is.
Oh, okay, okay.
And we also serve Navarro County, also in our department, and they have a thing called Active 911, and it's the same thing.
Okay.
It's, because we have a call in Navarro calls Freestone pages us, and then we get Active 911 alert on our phone.
Okay. Well,
That active 911 alert is computer driven, as in the dispatcher actually types in the computer and it sends an instant notification out to your phones with the address mapped to it and what the call is, and as the dispatcher gets more information, it updates on your app.
So you are able to get that information?
Yeah.
That's what I understand that.
Only other thing I was around, this is just calls, and like I say, it's not worth a darn getting a lot of phone calls about stuff, getting that stuff about different departments. But on the murder trial, as far as Cordova leaving and report not being done and evidence being lost is what can I tell these people that's been done to fix that? And are we gonna fill a third CID position? Like, just kind of updates on the.
Well, yeah, that's a whole issue as far as that case is concerned, and that investigator not getting his report in and then leaving. I can't just create a report from somebody that wasn't there. He was the one that was handling it. I've talked to Brian about this after it was over. Of course, inevitably, you know, the fact is couldn't tie the weapon actually to the defendant. Witnesses didn't show up. Witnesses changed their story. I mean, there's nothing we can do about that. But as far as our report, I have other people that work here, but we can't just create a report we wasn't involved in. So when he left, obviously I can't disciplinary him. There's no disciplinary action to take. He left. And for lack of better words, high and dry on that case. Luckily, we had 2 other reports from the ranger and the investigator at that time. And then as far as the third position, yes, me and Chief have been talking about it. I've talked to Wyman and Shaw about it, trying to get a third one in there. And the one we had, or one we were considering at the time is about to leave. That doesn't mean we don't have others that we can consider. But we also have to play, it's a fine line in making sure we got enough on the street, and then making sure we got enough in dispatch to help out and be there for those guys too. And, you know, taking one from our street, putting in CID, you know, we keep crime down. You know, since 2017 of taking over, we've had crime down between 19 and 21% year after year after year. And I think it's because we have so many people on the road driving around being seen. At this point, if I got to take one off the road, well, that's one less I'm going to have on my road. So that can affect that too, but it would help CID. But it's a fine line I have to take note of and make a decision about. Yes, we are going to fill the CID position. I would love to have a position to replace the one I'm going to lose on the street. But, you know, we're going to work with the schedule, see what we can do, and hopefully keep going like we
So
are.
you fill it in-house and then look
Yes.
at hiring another deputy?
Well, no, I don't have a position for that. Right now, I have a deputy to promote to a sergeant in CID. But when I do that, I'll lose one of my patrol guys. I don't have a position to replace him.
So when you hired the newest person, that was in place of a CDI at that time?
No, I haven't promoted anybody to that position as of yet.
Right.
Right.
But
When I do,
you still had the same number of employees, and when
I'll have,
Cordova left, you
yes.
just haven't hired anybody else.
No, I hired a deputy.
You
I
hired
hired
a
a
deputy
deputy.
rather than hiring somebody else.
No, I hired a deputy for the street, promoted lineman, and then was looking to promote another CID person. But I went ahead and hired a deputy because I'll promote within my own office.
Okay, so you still had the same number of people then?
Same exact number of people.
Yes.
The only thing that happens is I'll have 3 CID instead of 2, but I'll go from, say, 10 or 11 deputies to 1 less.
But when Cordova was here, you had how many deputies?
Yeah, the same as we have now. I promoted him to his position and hired a
One of
deputy.
the 2 CID positions is what you're saying when Cordova was here. Is that right?
Well, we're talking about Scotty also as being one, when you say 3.
Yeah, we have 2 right now.
Scotty and Ruby.
Yes. That's the 2 we have. We have a position open to promote another deputy. But when I promote that next deputy, that will take a patrol deputy off the street, and I won't have a position to hire for.
That's right, because 4, you still had the same number of people. We're talking about kind of the same thing, but the same number.
Yeah, I'm taking from my street and patrol,
I'll get those numbers before the next time.
putting one
Change the numbers.
into CID for 3. I'm just saying, we're gonna be shorter on patrol when I move the third.
Shorter than you were when you hired the last person. Now, let me get the numbers. We'll talk about it then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Right now, there's not a position, a deputy position open.
No, we don't have any positions
Full.
available. I have a promotion position available.
Right, in-house.
Okay.
I have one question, back to the murder trial. When did it happen? When did the murder happen? When did it happen? Does anybody remember the date, when it, August something?
July the 8th.
August 20.
August
2021.
So,
August 8th of 2021, is that correct?
when did the investigator quit? The investigator, when did he quit?
About.
I've been at CID about a year, he was here maybe a month after I come in, month and a half. So,
When did you come in?
been in CID, I'm just coming up on a year now.
Okay.
And I think Cordova left about 2 months after I come in.
So he,
2022.
so I guess my question is, he was here long enough to get a report? Why didn't somebody, I mean, who's over him?
Me?
Why didn't y'all get a report from him? I mean, if he works for you, you could say, I need a report before I release you. Or, I gotta have something.
I need a report before I can release you?
I said, did anybody have him come to the, y'all send a deposition for him to come testify?
Yes.
Not to really get into that detail, but we made a strategic decision to go with the Ranger and with Jason McGee.
So we didn't have his report, so we went, okay. Brian, I thought you did an excellent job.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Under the circumstances, you did really good.
Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
All right. If there's nothing else for today, thank you. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
One second.
All in favor? Thank you.